bike again like I never left. Been on a spiritual journey the last couple days. Actually, this whole time in quarantine. Been getting real good. Been feeling great. It's weird, man. But I think I've broken through the simulation. All right. Now, I don't want to alarm anyone. FBI, government, you watching this, don't worry. I know what's going on. I figured it out. In light of my enlightenment, I've decided to release another playlist video because I haven't done one of these in about a month again. I always manage to go weeks and weeks and weeks at a time overboard without dropping one of these. And it's just a recap of everything that I've been listening to, songs that I think y'all might have missed, songs that I might have forgotten to talk about over the last few weeks. Let me hop right into this shit. We're starting off with Lil Uzi Vert's Eternal Atake. I don't know why the consensus around this album is so muddy now, because it was really loved in the beginning, then it was really hated and people got mixed on it. Now the consensus seems to be that it's just a bad record, when the second attempt, Lil Uzi Vert versus the World, or Love versus Rage, or whatever the fuck it was, part 2, is trash to me. Eternal Atake is looking a lot better in my opinion. Even that trash You Better Move track is looking better than most of the things off the second attempt in my personal opinion. We got P2, which is basically EXO Tour Life part 2. We got the Way Back sample track. I like a good portion of the record, and I think the more I listen to it, the more it's probably going to inch into my honorable mentions of the year 2020. But I don't for one second think that Eternal Atake is a bad record or even a mediocre one. I actually really like it. But who did release some hot ass, in my opinion, or not really hot ass, but kind of boring, was Jhene Aiko's new record. I know a lot of people liked it, and I think people, honestly, not going to say they pretend to like Jhene Aiko, but I think people end up being mesmerized by the music that she currently makes, and then I listen to it, and like the emotional depth that it has isn't really there for me. Like, I don't really listen to Jhene Aiko trying to feel something, because generally she's making music about something she's already made music about. I try my best to listen to this record and be interested and, you know, listen to the songs all the way through, but the melodies are really samey. The vocal inflections are really samey. Her energy is the same the whole time. It just kind of becomes a drag after a little while. But I do like the track with her and Knxwledge, and I thought that one was pretty cool. And I thought he was a nice change of pace on the record. So if you need to listen to anything, listen to that track off Jhene Aiko's new record. The next one I kind of want to talk about is the Knxwledge and Meek Mill kind of fusions that he's been doing. I don't know how long he's been doing them, but I recently started listening to him maybe like 2 months ago, and I love it. Knxwledge sample usage with Meek Mill freestyling, it just is the perfect combo. It sounds so raw, so, you know, untouched. It sounds so point and shoot. Meek Mill's energy and emotion and kind of hunger can still be felt in these freestyles, while Knxwledge sample usage can be felt as well. Knxwledge also dropped a project of his own, and I did think it was pretty nondescript for most of the listen, but I do really enjoy the one with Anderson .Paak, and there are some nice tunes on the record. I'm just not really motivated to keep going back to the record like that. By all means, give it a listen yourself. I still think it's quality. I still think it's up to par with everything else that he's released. Don Toliver's Heaven or Hell is very reminiscent to a lot of what Travis Scott has done, but Don Toliver's personality shines through anything that Travis Scott could remotely think of. I feel him as a human being, as a person with their own intentions and wants and desires and, you know, abilities, and wants to have a good time. He doesn't sound so robotic or as devoid of life as Travis Scott generally does. That's why I think his voice shines and pierces through the production much more healthily than Travis Scott's generally does, at least for me. Much more slick, much less rigid. And that isn't to say that he's a much better artist. It's just to say that these are the reasons or the highlights of a Don Toliver that make him an important or essential role to Travis Scott's Cactus Jack label. Wasted is a banger, even though it's soothing and kind of sensual. After Party is still great. Guap Dad dropped the track titled Greedy, and I'm not usually a Guap Dad fan, but I think he did his thing on this one. Nice vocal inflections, very nice flow changes, keeping the song and the pacing of the track going. It's a little bit more personal, a little bit of a backstory. I did enjoy it because, like I said, his energy felt there. I feel like a lot of the time when I hear his music, he's a little bit too laid back, a little too lackadaisy about his verses and about the energy that he decides to give to them. But here, he felt very present. like he had something to prove. So yeah, I definitely recommend giving this track a listen. I definitely think he did his thing on this one. Electronica's album, A Written Testimony, didn't fall too gracefully on many people's ears. I still enjoyed it at about the same rate that I did when I first reviewed it. And all praises due to Allah is still one of my top tracks this year. That track is so emotional. It's so sad. It's so somber, but it's so lost and confused at the same time. It's almost like devastation, but painted in reality. It's like, how in the world, how much grief do you have to have within you that you literally contradict everything that you've been saying by needing to maintain technology to keep or maintain your connection to the spiritual? Like, you need this cell phone or else you don't feel like you still connect to this person. You do feel that way, but this thing is what holds the memories of that person. Like, you need it, but you're so spiritual. Like, I like the way it contradicts, but it's not like forgetting its contradiction. It's not forgetting its hypocrisy. It's acknowledging the human part of you despite how much you like to be so close to the spiritual. And the guitar, like I said, this track is gold. Brandon Banks has a new album, EP, mixtape thing out, I think. I don't really know exactly what it's called, but the track is called PICO. I like it a lot. I think Brandon's voice glides healthily over this guitar at the second leg of the track. I really think you should check it out. You know, I don't really have that much to say because I haven't listened to too much of his music, but I like this one, and I think you should give it a listen. Childish Gambino's 1238 with 21 Savage. Childish Gambino is doing all these vocal acrobatics, sounding like JPEG Mafia, doing these vocal inflections that kind of sound reminiscent of Jeremiah at a certain point. It genuinely sounds like Childish Gambino is wearing so many different hats on this song. It sounds great. It does go on for a little bit longer than it probably needs to, but I think he inserts himself at the most appropriate times during this track that I really can't complain about the 6-minute duration, even with the beautiful sample that's used to break up one part to go into the end of the track. I think that's lovely. Run the Jewels drops 2 new tracks. One's titled Ooh La La. I forgot the name of the other one. Please forgive me, but they both sound great. I'm really looking forward to Run the Jewels 4. These tracks are just great. It's Run the Jewels in their purest of form, hardcore hip hop to the best of its ability, while being rhythmic, while still maintaining a bit of an edge, but not going, you know, too far to be considered mainstream or anything like that. It's really enjoyable music. It's mature at the same time. It's witty. It's kind of funny at certain moments. Killer Mike does his thing. LP does his thing. DJ Premier does his thing on the Ooh La La track. I just really enjoy these two. Definitely check out what they've been putting out because I definitely think an album that is great is coming from Run the Jewels this year. PartyNextDoor dropped Savage Anthem. And I didn't like his album like that. I didn't. You know, what was it? PartyMobile? Whatever it's called. Album was ass, man. It was just trash. I don't know what else to say. It wasn't good. You know, it wasn't good. It wasn't a great attempt. Most of the songs on there were really generic, but Savage Anthem. Man, what else needs to be said? The track title says it all. If you haven't listened to the track, it is a little extra, a little over the top, almost like he's trying to hurt somebody's feelings. And if that's the case, I can totally get down with that being a Scorpio. We definitely got to get our revenge out there, all right, emotionally and physically. Got to let these people know. Like I Want You is great from Giveon. And for those who don't know, Giveon was the artist that most people mistook for Sampha on Drake's Chicago freestyle, I think it was called. And I really enjoyed his feature. Went back to check out some of his music. He put out his own album, capitalized off the hype a bit. Really thought that was intelligent. Did his thing. Most of the album, honestly, is pretty good to me. I don't have a problem with any of it, honestly. There is a lot of brightness and sunshininess, if you can say anything, to his voice. And I also really like the final track, Like I Want You, that has this beautifully sung hook. And I definitely think he's got much more personality and soul in his voice than anyone Drake has on his like OVO sound, like R&B wannabe label. I'm not trying to diss him. I mean, outside of Roy Woods, I like Roy Woods, but you know, like everybody else, like he could kind of fit in there and bring some life, some personality, a less generic tune to the label, in my opinion. I think he could do that because a lot of his music sounds pretty good to me. Oh my God, did The Weeknd do his thing on these bonus tracks? I cannot tell you how happy I was hearing these. The effect still hasn't grown off of me yet. Okay, these are still great tracks. Every track, with the exception of the second one, I didn't think it was that great. I still told y'all about that beat. Didn't grow on me. Still don't like it like that. But in context of the other bonus tracks, I get where it's trying to go. This Nothing Compares track, oh my god, I cannot believe that this is a bonus track. It's one of the best cuts on After Hours. He completely capitalized off this fusion of like chamber pop, 80s synth music, kind of trappy at certain points in the album. I just think he did his thing. You know, it's definitely grown on me After Hours a bit more, especially with these bonus tracks to kind of foot the bill. I really like it. Matt Cleare's Stuntman Diaries Reloaded, I think, is a pretty good album. It was released a couple months ago. I'm just now kind of getting into it again, but I definitely got to say this. He kind of, his voice and like his melodies, I guess, they kind of take from 90s a bit, and they mix themselves kind of healthily with some kind of off-the-cuff production at times. There's one track where there's someone screaming in the background that I really love. He has the flow of a rapper, but kind of like the soulfulness to keep it sensual. Not as blatant as like a Brent Faiyaz, but it's still just as enjoyable. Not really a strong rapper. He's definitely reliant a little bit more on production as opposed to a Brent Faiyaz that kind of relies heavily on his vocals. You know, but he kind of gave me that Smino ability. And not saying that he sounds like Smino, but the ability to kind of put yourself into multiple crevices of a track and put yourself in like the tightest of spaces where people wouldn't expect you to be able to fit. He goes in those areas sometimes and just completely dominates the track. Doesn't happen all the time, but when it happens, it's great. Conway and the Alchemist dropped a collab EP, I believe it was titled LuLu, and I enjoyed a fair bit of it. Pretty much, if you listen to Conway, you know what to expect. Contract being one of the tracks that features this kind of Scarface mob like movie background aesthetic, as if something really dramatic is happening. Definitely feels very East Coast, definitely feels very New York. Bill Withers passed away, I believe it was over the weekend or maybe a few days before that. Rest in peace to the legend, rest in peace to the GOAT. Grandma's Hands and a handful of other tracks, see what I did there, from Bill Withers. Actually a handful of other albums fit so tightly into the background of my life, into the history of who I am. Don't really see myself going forward or even kind of maintaining my want to listen to soul the way I do without a Bill Withers. So go back and listen to his discog. Familiarize yourself if you're not. But one of the essentials, if you've never heard it, you know, I know it sounds crazy, but some people still haven't heard Grandma's Hand. So give it a listen if you need to. Thundercat's album, what was it called? It Is What It Is. It was what it was. And that was pretty much it. I like Thundercat, but one of my issues with the dude's music usually is there always seems to be a lack of a performer. Like, it's like listening to Thundercat will be like, and I know this isn't the same at all, so don't misquote me. It will be like listening to the Temptations without a lead singer. You know, Thundercat feels like the background singer, and then the song feels like there doesn't have a main singer, like a lead singer. And like, I think the music and the foundation for the album is great. I think it can sometimes peer into you like you wouldn't expect. The bass lines, the soul, the neo soul aesthetic, the funk, the jazz that we get on this album, I think those are all great. However, when Thundercat sings himself, it's just not as dominating or as powerful as I need it to be for the surrounding area to have this beautifully crafted jazz and kind of neo soul aesthetic. I just need someone a little bit more vocally present, someone that peers through the production much more. That's really my only drawback with this. But when it comes to painting the room and kind of laying out the foundation, I think Thundercat is beautiful at that. But just maybe hang in the background a little bit more, or bring your own vocals to the present or to the forefront a bit more, will make some of these tracks stand out so much more. But musically, this thing hits right where it needs to. KIRBY is a soul singer from Mississippi. She has a track titled Apple. Please go listen to it. That track is fantastic. I'm not spoiling anything for you, but if you need some female soul singing in your life, listen, okay? Listen to Apple from KIRBY. And last but not least, we've got a lot of info and kind of stuff coming out about Drake when it comes to music. He released a bunch of snippets the other day, and I thought a good portion of them were better than majority of the stuff that he's been putting out. to be quite frank with you. One of them was kind of a tune. I'm sorry, that was bad. But one of them was pretty good. He's got like a melody going on. It's like T instead of key. You know, it's good. It's good. I like that one a lot. Please release him as a separate EP or something. I need that. But Drake has a full cut titled Vital. Oh my God, man. When I heard that shit was crazy. I love that way more. Like, I'll take that over the entire Well, not the entire Scorpion album. Can't break, can't let it show my face. That shit is crazy, man. That's what I got for right now. I plan on doing another one of these, and yeah, I plan on doing one of these again in a couple weeks. So just give me some time, and I'm gonna hit you with another one. Okay, I got a lot more to actually put on here, but I don't want the video to be too long, and my camera's probably about to go to sleep right now. So I'll see y'all in the next one. You, as usual, put your songs and playlists in the comment section down below. Let me know what you've been listening to, and I'll see you in the next one. And I'm out. Peace. Okay, peace.